I want to tell you about a specific kind of day, not a holiday, not a celebration, not a day that looks important from the outside, a day that looks completely ordinary from the outside. But inside, something changes. Not the English, not the skill level, not the certificate or the test score or anything that can be written on a piece of paper. Something in how you see yourself, a quiet internal shift, a moment when you think about English, and for the first time, the thought is not, I hope I can do this. It is, I know I can do this. Not because your English suddenly became perfect, because you did something that proved to yourself, specifically, really undeniably, that you were capable of more than you had believed. These days do not come loudly. They do not announce themselves. They come in ordinary moments. A conversation that went better than expected, a reading that was suddenly clear, a sentence that came out right without thinking. And in that ordinary moment, everything shifts. Today's story is about a young man named Anis. For a long time, Anis doubted himself. He worked hard, but he did not quite believe in himself until one ordinary afternoon when everything changed. This is his story. Meet Anis. Anis was 26 years old. He worked at a small real estate company, handling client inquiries, scheduling property viewings, managing documentation. He was organized and thorough. When he told a client he would do something, he did it. When he told his manager something would be ready, it was ready. People in the office trusted him completely. He had been studying English for 9 months. Every morning, 20 minutes before work, a structured course, vocabulary, listening exercises, writing practice. He had not missed a morning in 9 months. The study was consistent. The progress was real. His reading had improved. His written English was cleaner. His manager had mentioned it twice in passing, but Anis had a persistent private doubt that the progress could not seem to touch. Not about his work ethic, not about his consistency, about his actual capability in real, uncontrolled, unexpected situations. He studied in the safety of his desk. He practiced in the privacy of his morning sessions. But when English appeared unexpectedly in the real world, an international visitor, a phone message needing an English reply, a situation that required him to produce English without preparation, a voice arrived immediately alongside it. You are going to get this wrong. You have been studying, but you are still not ready. The voice was quiet, never loud, never dramatic, just steady and reasonable sounding and persuasive. And for 9 months, it had persuaded him. Every real English opportunity had been let past, redirected to a colleague, handed to his manager, allowed to pass without Anis engaging. He was building English in private and avoiding it in every real moment, until a Tuesday afternoon in month 9 when there was nobody else, the Tuesday that changed everything. A man came into the real estate office on a Tuesday at around 3 in the afternoon. Foreign, clearly not local. He spoke no Arabic. That became apparent immediately. He had a phone in his hand with what appeared to be a property listing on the screen. He looked slightly uncertain, as people do when they are not sure they have found the right place. Anis's manager was in her office on a call with the door closed. His colleague had left 20 minutes earlier to show a property to another client. It was just Anis and the man at the reception desk. The man looked at Anis directly. He held up the phone, the listing, and said in clear, calm English, "Hi, I saw this property online. I have some questions. Can you help me?" The voice arrived instantly. "You are going to get this wrong." Anis looked at the man, at the listing on the phone, a property he recognized from the firm's current portfolio, at the genuine, waiting expression of someone who needed help and had come to the right place to find it. He thought about 9 months, about 20 minutes every morning. He said, "Of course, please sit down." And something happened that he had not expected. The conversation worked. The man asked about the property. Anis answered. The man asked about the price and the process for international buyers. Anis explained, clearly, specifically, with the vocabulary he had been building for 9 months. The man asked about viewing availability. Annie's checked the calendar and confirmed a time. The conversation lasted 11 minutes. At the end, the man said, "Thank you. You have been very helpful. I will see you Thursday." He left. Honest sat at his desk. He thought about what had just happened. 11 minutes. A real client. Real questions. Real answers. A viewing booked. He had done it without his manager, without his colleague, without preparation. And it had worked. Not perfectly. He had asked the man to repeat one thing. His accent had been noticeable, but it had worked completely. The client had understood. The business had moved forward. The viewing was booked. Lesson 1. The voice was wrong. After the man left, Ani sat quietly for a few minutes. He was thinking about the voice. You are going to get this wrong. It had been with him for 9 months, in every real English moment, preventing him from trying, persuading him to let things pass to colleagues, keeping him away from the situations that would have given him exactly what the Tuesday conversation had just given him. Evidence, real, specific, undeniable evidence that the voice was wrong. Not completely wrong. He had asked for one repeat. His accent was still noticeable, but fundamentally, essentially, practically wrong. He had handled the conversation. The client was coming back on Thursday. The business had been done. The voice had said, "You are going to get this wrong." The conversation had said, "No, you are not." He wrote in his notebook, Tuesday. The foreign client, 11 minutes. I handled it. The voice was wrong. It has been wrong all along. I just did not have the evidence until today. He thought about all the situations he had let pass to colleagues, the phone calls he had avoided, the English conversations he had redirected. All of them would have been fine. He understood that now. Not perfect, but fine. Functional. Real. He had been doubting a capability that existed. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. The voice was wrong. I have the evidence now. 11 minutes. Real client, real questions. Handled completely. I asked for one repeat. The conversation still worked. The capability existed. I just did not trust it until today. Evidence from real moments is more powerful than any doubt. I handled it alone without preparation. That is the proof. The day everything changed was a Tuesday. Ordinary. Real. Lesson 2. Thursday, the second proof. The second proof. Thursday arrived, the viewing. Annis had thought about canceling. Not canceling the viewing, redirecting it. Asking his colleague to handle it. Returning to the familiar safety. He thought about Tuesday, about the evidence. He did not redirect it. He met the client at the property. They walked through it together. The client asked questions about the building, the neighborhood, the legal process for international buyers. Annis answered all of them. He had prepared more thoroughly than for Tuesday, researched vocabulary, reviewed the property specifications, practiced a few likely answers out loud the night before. The preparation showed. The viewing lasted 40 minutes. At the end, the client said he wanted to proceed to the next stage of inquiry. Ani gave him the next steps documentation in English, which he had prepared. The client looked at the documentation. He nodded. Everything is very clear, he said. Thank you, Anis. Everything is very clear. He drove back to the office thinking about Tuesday and Thursday. 2 English interactions in 3 days, both functional, both real, both completed without help. The voice, which had been preventing him from trying for 9 months, had been protecting him from nothing, from 2 completely manageable conversations. He wrote in his notebook, Thursday, viewing done, client proceeding to next stage, 2 interactions in 3 days, both fine. The voice was protecting me from nothing. I wasted 9 months of possible practice because of it. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me. Thursday. Viewing done. Client proceeding. Everything clear. I prepared more and it showed. Preparation plus trust equals good results. 2 English interactions in 3 days. Both manageable. Both real. The voice was protecting me from nothing. That is the honest conclusion. 9 months of possible practice avoided because of doubt. No more. I shake hands. I give the documentation. I say, see you soon. The second proof confirms the first. The capability is real. Lesson 3. What changed after Tuesday? 1 month after the Tuesday conversation, Anis counted the English interactions he had had. 14. Not 14 in 9 months, 14 in 1 month, because the Tuesday had changed something internal. The voice was still there. It had not disappeared overnight, but it was quieter, less convincing, less able to stop him, because now he had evidence against it. Every time the voice said, "You are going to get this wrong," he could point to Tuesday, to 11 minutes, to the client coming back Thursday, to everything is very clear. The evidence was stronger than the voice, and the 14 interactions of the month had added more evidence. Not all of them had gone perfectly. One had been genuinely awkward, two had required him to ask for repeats more than once, but all of them had communicated. All of them had accomplished their purpose. 14 pieces of evidence in 1 month, against a voice that had prevented practice for 9 months. He thought about the 9 months, not regretfully, just as information. 9 months of avoiding had not protected him. It had just delayed 14 months of evidence. The evidence was always going to come from the interactions. The only question was when he would let himself have the interactions. He had let them start on a Tuesday in month 9. He wrote in his notebook, 1 month after Tuesday, 14 interactions, evidence accumulating. The voice is quieter, not gone, quieter. The evidence makes it smaller. I keep adding evidence. Daily English sentences, repeat after me, 14 interactions in 1 month. 1 month ago, almost none. Evidence accumulates. The voice becomes quieter with every interaction. Not all perfect, all accomplish their purpose. That is enough. The voice is smaller now. Evidence made it smaller. I point to Tuesday every time doubt arrives. Tuesday answers it. The evidence was always going to come from the interactions. I keep having interactions. I keep building evidence. The voice shrinks. Lesson 4. 6 months after Tuesday. 6 months after the Tuesday that changed everything. Honest was handling all English client communication at the office. Not because his manager had assigned it specifically, because he had simply started handling it and handled it well. And the natural result was that it became his. 2 international clients were currently going through the buying process with him as their primary contact. A third had just inquired. His manager had mentioned it at a recent review. Your English communication has become one of the firm's strengths, she said. The international clients consistently report that the communication is clear and professional. Clear and professional. He thought about Tuesday, about 11 minutes, about the voice that had said, "You are going to get this wrong." He thought about 9 months of avoiding before Tuesday and 6 months of engaging after it. The difference between those two periods was not his English level. It had improved meaningfully through the practice of the 6 months, but the English he had at Tuesday was already capable of the work. He had just not known it. The difference was Tuesday, the day everything changed. Not because the English changed, because he changed how he saw the English he had. He wrote in his notebook, 6 months after Tuesday, international communication is mine now. Manager, clear and professional. 6 months of evidence building. Tuesday was the first stone. Everything was built on it. Daily English sentences. Repeat after me, 6 months after Tuesday. International communication is mine. The manager said clear and professional. Tuesday built that. The English was already capable. Tuesday showed me it was. The difference was not my English level, it was how I saw it. 6 months of evidence built on the first stone of Tuesday. The day everything changed was ordinary. The change was real. I keep building. Tuesday was the beginning of something that has no end. Final words. Your Tuesday is coming. Anis's story is simple. He studied for 9 months, consistently, seriously, building something real, but a persistent voice prevented him from using it, from testing it, from discovering what was actually there, until a Tuesday afternoon when a foreign client walked in and there was nobody else, and Anis found out what 9 months of work had built. Everything changed. not the English, the belief, the evidence. The voice that had said you cannot do this answered specifically, undeniably, by 11 minutes of a conversation that worked. Maybe you have been studying consistently, building something, but not quite believing in it, not quite trusting what you have built. Your Tuesday is coming. It might be tomorrow, it might be next week. It might arrive as an unexpected phone call or a visitor to your workplace or a conversation that starts before you have time to redirect it. And when it comes, do not redirect it. Let it happen. Be in it. Imperfect, slightly nervous, real. And discover, as Honest did, that what you have built is already more than the voice has been telling you. The day everything changes does not look important from the outside. It looks like a Tuesday afternoon. And inside, everything shifts. See you in the next one. Stay calm, stay consistent, and be ready for your Tuesday.